Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 831 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The US announced who will represent the official Washington at the Global Peace Summit in Switzerland on 15th and 16th of June. Despite Ukraine's hopes, it won't be President Joe Biden, but Vice President Kamala Harris and US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, reports European Pravda. It is expected that during her visit to Switzerland, Harris will stress the commitment of the US President's administration to supporting Ukraine's effort to secure a just and lasting peace, which is based on Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity and the principles of the UN Charter. Earlier, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Kremlin ruler Vladimir Putin would be relieved by Biden's absence at the summit. John Kirby, White House National Security Communications Advisor, stated that the US decision does not mean a lower level of US support for Ukraine, reports Ukrinform. He stressed that there hasn't been any single leader around the world who has supported Ukraine more and more stridently than Joe Biden. Kirby added that there is no other nation which has done as much for Ukraine and its ability to fight back against Russia as the United States, adding that the US supports the Ukrainian peace formula. In total, about 107 countries and organizations have confirmed their participation in the summit. Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó expressed doubts about his country's participation in the peace summit in Switzerland. The Hungarian minister explained that Budapest is hesitant because Russia will not be represented at the summit. Quote, "The question remains, does a peace conference make sense if warring parties are not present? So if not all parties are represented, I believe it's a reasonable question whether the entire conference makes sense in terms of the ultimate purpose, which is the promotion of peace," unquote, Szijjártó said. Meanwhile, Chinese officials have responded to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's statement that Russia and China are attempting to undermine Ukraine's peace summit in Switzerland. Asked about the impending event in Switzerland in mid-June, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Mao Ning stated that Beijing has never fanned fire or fueled the flames of the Russian-Ukrainian war. At the same time, China acknowledges that all initiatives to encourage peaceful measures in this war are legitimate. According to Mao, China prioritizes its relationship with Ukraine and remains its greatest trade partner. He also added that China's position on the peace conference is open and transparent. On Sunday, Zelensky accused China of supporting efforts to deter the leaders from attending the summit in Switzerland. Quote, "It is unfortunate that such a big, independent, powerful country as China is an instrument in the hands of Putin," unquote, Zelensky said. China is unlikely to take part in the summit. Beijing has close ties with Russia and refrains from criticizing its invasion of Ukraine. Western governments have repeatedly accused the Chinese government of helping Russia wage war. At the same time, China offered its assistance in a peaceful settlement. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani confirmed previous media reports that the SAMP-T air defense system is included in the new package of military aid to Ukraine, reports RBK Ukraine. The minister confirmed that the government is preparing another package of military aid, the contents of which, as in previous cases, will be confidential. The only type of weapons he disclosed was SAMP-T. At the same time, Tajani emphasized that Italy will not send troops to Ukraine and Italian weapons cannot be used to attack Russia. Ukraine received the first SAMP-T system in 2023. This Franco-Italian battery can track dozens of targets and intercept 10 simultaneously, and it's the only European-made system capable of intercepting ballistic missiles. Dutch Defense Minister Kaja Ollongren said that her country will allow Ukraine to use the F-16 fighter jets the Netherlands will supply for strikes on targets in Russia, reports Espresso. Quote, "We are applying the same principle that we have applied to every other delivery of capabilities, which is once we hand it over to Ukraine, it's theirs to use. We only ask them to comply with international law and the right to self-defense as stated in the UN Charter, which means they use it to target the military goals they need to target in their self-defense," unquote, said the minister. Ollongren was among the officials who called for the lifting of restrictions on Ukraine's use of Western-supplied weapons by the allies who had imposed them. Earlier, Denmark also stated that it would not restrict Ukraine's use of the F-16s it plans to transfer, while, for example, Belgium won't permit it. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.